A number of you that have asked me how I go about making my lassos or lariats for my cowboys. So I thought I'd just make a short video and show you how I go about doing that. I just finished this guy this morning, and he's all done except he's lacking a lariat, and he's also lacking some spurs. So first I'm going to show you how to make the lariat, and then maybe in the next video I'll show you how I do my spurs. Okay? Alright, here's a lariat. Lasso, lariat. It's just, in this case, a coil of nylon rope. It's got a loop on the end of it. This is called a Honda. It's got a rawhide piece of leather right in here. This is called a burner. That's to keep the rope from wearing out your loop so fast when you're roping cows. These are about 30 feet long. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, but about 30 feet long is a general rule. If you've got an old or a ranch supply place close by, you can generally find these down there. They sell them used, and you can pick them up for not too many bucks, and it's nice to have them laying around the shop so you can use them as a piece of research. So anyway, this is what we want to reproduce, okay? And to do that, this is what we're going to use. This is 20 gauge multi-purpose wire, 4-strand galvanized. You'll find this down at the home center. Now you could use regular just coiled single strand wire, but I've found over time that it's best to go ahead and use this because it already has a factory twist to it, which when you use single strand wire, after you've used several pieces and you try to twist them together, you'll get little bumps along it. That's because you can't get it just as even as they can in the factory. So the factory just takes care of that for you and you don't have to worry about that. So anyway, to determine the size of your lariat, just look at your figure. This guy, in real life, he would stand about, a little over 10 inches tall. Or, no, in real life he'd stand about 6 feet tall, but in this case he's 10 inches tall. So 6 to go into 35 times. So, being as he's 10 inches tall, we want a piece about 50 inches long. Well, I've cut me a couple pieces here. I think this is the right one. Let's just see. Yep, that's it. Here, I'll come around this side. Now remember, there's 4 strands to this wire. Now if we twisted it just like it is right here, it would be much too thick and it wouldn't look real. Now on my larger figures, which stand about this tall, 3 strands of wire works out perfect for those. Well, I think 3 strands of wire for this smaller figure will be just a little too thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take off 2 strands of this wire, and I'll just twist this off of here like this to get me down to that 2 strands of wire. Okay? Okay, I've got my 2 pieces separated. So now I've got 2 pieces, 2 strands each. Okay? So I'm not going to mess with one of them right now. I'm only interested in this one over here. So we'll just put this away back here. And one thing I should have done before is just outline what we're using here to make this thing. Like I say, you need that 4-strand multi-purpose wire. Make sure you get 20 gauge, because 20 gauge will work for all figures, no matter what size they are. Where if you get a larger gauge, it won't work so well. You're going to need a pair of needle nose pliers, a can of deft, some gun bluing. You can buy this down at Walmart. It costs about $5 a bottle, which will last you a long time. Don't need that wire anymore. And you're going to need a drill. You don't need him around anymore. Get this other stuff out of the way. So anyway, as you're untwisting your wire, make sure you don't get any kinks in it. If you get a slight bend in it, just sight down it and take it out of there. Alright, so if you follow me down here, I'm going to hook one end of this into my vise down here at the end of the table. Come back up here and get my drill and put that in there. Now, one thing you have to take into consideration is you have to do this in reverse, because the factory twist is reversed to the forward action of this drill. So you'll have to twist this on there by hand, although most of us are used to just holding this thing and turning it on. Well, in this case, if you did that, it would untwist your wire and then you'd have a mess on your hand. So anyway, now we've got our wire in the vise. Looks pretty straight. And we just start twisting it the other direction. And just let it twist. Keep it pulled tight, but not so tight as it's going to pull it out of your drill, or so loose that it gets away from you. And then every once in a while stop and take a look at it. Now if Judy will bring the camera over here, you can see, watch me look for the twist that I'm looking for, okay? Well, Judy says she can see that twist from over where she is, so we won't worry about that. Anyway, what we want to do is we want to approximate the twist that's on this this lasso. If you twist it too little, it's going to look funny. If you twist it too much, you're going to end up snapping your wire in two. So anyway, we're not there yet. So I'll just keep twisting it. See, it's starting to pull me forward now, so it's getting a good twist on it. Almost. Getting there. Notice our length of wire is getting shorter the more we twist it. So remember that when you cut your length off. That looks pretty good right there. So now I'm going to take it out of there. And there we have our twisted wire. Now I'm going to take my needle nose and cut off the end here on each end, like that. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bend my loop on the end of it here. So I'm just going to bend with my fingers, bend that up there like that. About here, you can see there, I'm going to come back, go back a little, bend it like that. And on the other side, about the same distance, I'm going to bend it like that, okay? Then I'll hold my pliers there and bend these two edges together, and that'll give me a little loop like that there. Can you see that? All right. And there's one thing I forgot to set up here on the table that's critical. Let me get it. Find it over here somewhere. There it is. There's my super glue and some thread. So let me get off the length of thread here. So I'll hold these two little ends together like that, and then I'll just wrap them with the thread. And this is going to give me my loop, or my Honda. Just wrap them till you get a nice, good solid wrap on there. Take you some super glue. Always buy that real thin super glue. And put your good dollop on there like that. Wait for it to go off. Now with my nippers, because my excess here is a little long, I'm going to come in here with my nippers and nip that off of there. Like that. Okay? And with a knife, just trim off your excess. And we have our loop. Now the last thing on the loop that I always like to do is take my needle nose pliers and bend that loop up just a little. Like that. See, doing that will come in handy here in just a minute. Now the next step is to go ahead and thread your wire through your loop. You don't really need to do this, but I'm just showing you how that loop works. Draw it up and be careful, you don't want to get any kinks. And then just kind of wrap it around your hands like that. Just like that. Okay? Now I'm going to use the green colored tie that was on the wire there, just to tie this loop together like that temporarily. Okay? Otherwise it's going to just go boing and be all over the place. Alright, so there, we've got that done now. Now the next step is to darken that wire with this gun bluing. And to do that, I'm going to need something to dump this stuff in, which will be a piece of plastic cranking cup. Alright, the way I do it, I just dump the whole bottle in here. Now when I put this in there, it's just going to immediately turn brown, not blue, but brown. Just get it in there and then slop it around a little. You might have to take it back out and stick it back in there. So you get it all over. And it should have gotten all over except for that little area where I tied this wire around it. So I'm going to take that off of there. Check it good. Everything is covered good. Now you see that it gets quite messy. See, that wire oxidizes and it gets all over your hands. So an impulse of yours would be, well, I don't like that, I'm going to wipe all that off. Don't do that. You want that brown. And the best way to keep it on there is to first, let me let it go boiling here. See there? And we have to let this dry completely. Now I've got a little jump, can speed that process up just a bit by taking that over to the wood stove and just putting this on top of the wood stove and letting it dry, and that's what I'm going to do right now.